Hey, ladies! Happy Where We At Wednesday. Why do I always say Where We At Wednesday? Okay, it's not Where We At Wednesday. It is Wealthy and Worthy Wednesday. Okay. Now I'm gonna have to explain it because I know people are gonna ask me. Okay, so for those who are new to our community, welcome. Where We At Wednesday is actually something we do in our own like personal friend group, and it is just a weekly, midweek check-in. We check in with each other. And we send a video that's less than 5 minutes, and we just give the rundown, what we need, what's happening, maybe what we're celebrating, and it just gives us a really good touch point to check in with each other and make sure if we need to go in on something, we can tackle it right then and there. And so it just allows our group to be connected and wealthy and worthy. Then is an extension of that, actually, because it's something that we already have in our lives, and we're extending that love to y'all. So welcome. We're so glad to have y'all here. We got the crew here today. Okay. We got Jeannie here for Love and Psych. She is our resident therapist. We got Talana Davis here today for To the T Decor, and also Life Beyond DNA. She is our transformation expert of spaces and relationships. And then we have, listen, last but certainly not least, we've got Dr. J in the building, and she is our resident medical expert. All right. So today, y'all, we hitting something heavy today, y'all. We talking about the truth of the calendar. All right. What happens, right, when your calendar reveals the real deal? All right. So so we, are always inviting our community to think differently, right, about how they are experiencing success, because all of our clients are high impact women, and largely women of color, actually. And so we really want to offer up an intentional space, where we offer up new ways of thinking and being, and invite you all into these spaces, not as something to be critiqued, but something to be invited into and become aware of, right? Because it's the awareness that brings empowered choice. All right. And so today we're talking about the calendar, right? Because we have learned and come to understand that the calendar tells the truth. All right. It tells the truth about what's important to you. It tells the truth about whether you have boundaries. It tells the truth about your leadership style. It tells us whether you're aligned or not. Right. And for many of you as high achieving women, there's a gap, actually. And there's a gap between the life that you say you're creating or designing and the life that your calendar actually reflects.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're gonna pause and just let that sink in. Okay, there's a gap, right? There's a gap between who you say you want to be and who you actually are showing up as, right? And sometimes those gaps are just blind spots, right? Again, we are not here for judgment. Nothing that we ever share with you all is about shame or blame. It is simply about taking an honest look at where you are compared to where you want to be. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So as we think about that gap, right, I want you to consider something simple, okay? If you looked at your calendar over the last, maybe let's say the last week, maybe 2 weeks, what would it reflect? Would it reflect intention or reaction? Right? Are you reacting to things, or are you able to be intentional about how you're creating your world, right? Would it show a woman who's actually leading her life well? Or would it show a woman who's managing everybody else's stuff and other people's expectations? Okay. Because it's important that you understand that a calendar is not just a scheduling tool, it's actually an operating system. And if your system is out of whack or misaligned, your exhaustion as an obvious source, right? It is the natural consequence of not having a properly functioning operating system. All right. So today, what we're going to do is examine what your calendar is actually communicating without judgment, but with precision. All right. So let's get into it, ladies. All right. So as you all think about, the women, the high impact women, highly capable women that y'all are serving in your respective spaces, right? What does it immediately reveal about how she's operating? And many times this is whether she realizes or not. What do you see as the expert in your space? Let's start with you, Jeannie. What patterns do you see showing up when someone's time is being driven more by obligation or should? A lot of our women use should. I should be, right? How does that look? How does that show up in their world?
Well, I mean, it depends on the woman, right? I mean, if they're coming to me, generally speaking, there is an issue that's occurring for them mentally. There's some level of distress that they're experiencing or an issue in functioning. And so the woman who's coming to me, generally, what we see is she's absolutely showing up inside of these obligatory meetings and absolutely over functioning with various frivolous sort of meetings. She lacks boundaries related to her time. She tends to say yes a lot when she means no. I mean, she exists inside of the behavior of people pleasing etiquette, which looks like complete and total imbalance. That's why she's coming to me to say, I'm burned out. I'm stretched too thin. I'm not able to show up well in my life circumstances. And she's often inside of that space blaming self, so individualizing and pathologizing, maybe sometimes making these sort of global proclamations about who she is, rather than seeing that, hey, this is a reaction to the systems around you and to the ways that you've learned to interact with those systems. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear when they're coming to me, because you come to me when you've reached a certain arena of dysfunction a lot of the time, or at least to some degree, you have hit a wall and your level of success you feel has stalled in some ways.
I love that. I love that, Jay. Okay, so you talked about the people pleasing etiquette, and then you also talked about kind of the the turning point when women tend to seek kind of that mental health support, psychological support. And I think that's super important because, and also, I'll say too, for me, when I am reconnecting with my therapist, it's often when I feel like I've lost sight of my tools, right? So it's like, historically, you're going to therapy because there's a crisis or there's a life disruption and you're like super disoriented and you're trying to like figure out up from down, right? But I feel like now, that I've kind of done that work and have been on the healing journey for a really long time. It's like now if I'm re-engaging, it's because I've lost sight of my tools. I can't remember, right? Like how to do the thing. I know I talked about it at some point. I know I was, informed and given these strategies, but I can't quite access them for whatever reason, right?
Yes.
And so I think that is super important for women to understand, right? Like you don't have to just go to therapy because you feel like your world is blowing up. You can go because, like Jeannie said, like I'm not showing up well, right? I don't feel like I have this specific intention, but maybe that's not how people are experiencing me, right? And so I'm trying to reconcile, right, those things. So love that so much. And as we think about more of that kind of like people pleasing, as Jeannie mentioned, people pleasing etiquette.
I labeled it that way on purpose because this is not a personality trait. It is a behavior.
Say it again.
It's not a personality trait. It's a behavior. So when people are naming, I'm a people pleaser, you are engaging in people pleasing etiquette. You are engaging in the behavior. It is not a personality construct, people. Throw that out the window, please.
Yes.
So it's not, so it's not who you are.
No, it's how you're behaving. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's not who you are at all. Yeah, no.
That's gonna free a lot of people right there.
They're gonna be mad.
Just at one
Stay
time.
mad.
Yeah.
Yes, it should for you because you can separate, right, who you are
Mhm.
from how you're behaving in this specific context. So I
Mhm.
think that's beautiful. Thank you for clarifying that for us, Jay.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's turn to Dr. J. Okay, what does the body begin to experience when a woman is consistently operating from a misaligned schedule or a chaotic calendar?
Yeah. So I think first off, there's a lot of emotional irritability, right? And so then it becomes difficult to make decisions, especially decisions that are in alignment with your values or even thinking about what is the next best step, right? And so when that happens, like from a physiological standpoint, when you're in that misalignment, is that your body is sensing a threat, right? Due to that emotional irritability, due to you not being in alignment, either you not being in alignment with your nutritional choices, you not being in alignment with how your body moves that feels good to you, you not being in alignment with certain relationships that you have, right? And so your body starts to feel threatened, right? Like it literally feels like you are in a jungle running from a bear. And when that happens, there's a part of your brain called the amygdala, and your amygdala is activated. And when that amygdala is activated, you physiologically cannot make clear decisions, right? But when we allow ourselves to pause and really connect with our bodies, and understand, okay, well, all right, well, maybe I don't need to take on that next activity because I have too much on my plate right now, right? When we allow ourselves to pause and truly think about what is the next best step for us, we are then able to activate our executive functioning, that is our prefrontal cortex, so that we can make decisions that are in alignment with where we want to be right now. And so, in short, your body feels threatened. That is physiologically what is happening. Your body feels that is running from a bear. And so the cascade of events that happens with this is that if your body feels threatened, your body is going to try to survive. And so what happens that your body is holding on to fat. It is You're not able to make clear decisions. Glucose metabolism, the way that we process glucose, it gets impaired. And so the glucose gets stored in fat instead of being stored in our muscles, which can be used for energy and for movement and for physical activity. And so also, we have increased cortisol levels, and that again also impacts glucose metabolism. And so you see how everything is so interconnected, and it becomes like a cycle that keeps on rearing its head. And so I think the key to this, and this is something that I work with my patients and my clients on, because a lot of them, they come to me with a goal, like a very specific goal. Like, I want to lose weight, or I want to build muscle. But we're actually dealing with all the things that leads to the goal that they want. So, for example, I had a patient who came to me and she was like, I want to build muscle. But actually, where I'm teaching her how to sleep better. I'm teaching her how to recover after her workouts. I'm teaching her to like not have a productivity list during the weekends, right? I'm teaching her how to actually nourish her body, like what foods is actually going to nourish her body so that she can gain the muscle that she wants, right? So she is understanding from a physiologic standpoint how her body can rest so that she can then achieve the specific goal that she came to me for.
I love that.
Very awesome.
Come on. Okay, listen, y'all. Listen. Now,
So
Dr.
many
J,
good things.
come on. She be dropping the gems, okay? So as we think about this, right? So if you're watching this, right, ultimately what Dr. J is saying is that you need to be kind to yourself.
Yes.
Okay? You need to be kind to yourself. Because when you are constantly putting your body in that fight or flight where it feels like it's being chased by a bear all the time, it is trapped in survival, right? It's trapped in survival, which means you lose the ability to function at a high level in these other areas. That matters. So sometimes you may think you're battling, as Jeannie mentioned, a personality trait, but really what you're battling is biology. Okay? And that does not change. So you have to change. Okay? So and there is a way to change. Okay? There is a way to change, and you need support to change, which is why we're here. So I love that so much. So as we think about, okay, so we talked about the psychological, we talked about the physiological. Now, Talana, we're going to turn to you. How does this show up in a woman's life or relationships when her calendar is overcommitted or reactive?
So this is how it shows up. Okay. So I'd like to piggyback off of what Jeannie said. I always want to call Jeannie doctor for some reason.
It's just speaking over my life.
She's on the way.
You're going to speak it into existence, right? So kind of piggybacking off what you said, and also the comment that Kat Friedman said, is not who you are, is how you are behaving.
Okay, let's put that on. Come on, Kat.
That is such a freeing statement, right? And what I see in the women that I work closely with and mentor is women. The women I mentor are pretty much navigating like identity shifts and emotional weight. And I can tell when a woman has slowly removed herself from her own life.
Ooh.
Right. So her calendar is full, but there's no space where she exists as a person. And a lot of time we get attached to roles, and our calendars reflect the roles that we play, not the people that we are.
Whoa. Come on.
Right. And so one thing that wait a minute, hold on. So like right. So at home it shows up like her pointing to everyone else, of course, and she's quietly running on empty. And how she's showing up now is she's aggravated, she's frustrated. And I don't think women understand the power that we hold when it comes to our environments, because everyone feeds off of how we show up.
Yeah.
Thus, they respond to how we show up. That's sometimes what creates the chaotic environments that we're in. So she's there, she's doing all the things, but there is a total disconnect, right? And that disconnect is not just felt by her, it's felt by everybody around her. But there are always indicators around us that's showing us how we're showing up. So like, for example, for me, so my son just a few weeks ago came to me, and I had to tell this to my husband, and he was like, "Mom, are you working all day again today?" And I was like, it wasn't necessarily what he said, it's how he said it. It was like, "Oh, you're busy again." Right. To me, that was an indicator that I'm off kilter here, because there should be a balance where my son feels like he has what he needs, right? But what am I pouring into? Look at my calendar and it will tell me where my time has gone, right? And then why do we feel like we shouldn't put things like going for a walk in our calendars? Like pausing and binge watching a show in my calendar. The things that I enjoy, that I like to do, why do we not feel like it's important enough to put in our calendar? Because if we're honest with ourselves, that would show a true balance of who we are as people and what we desire and what we enjoy. Is not just our roles, because our roles really feed other people's dreams.
Come on.
And not just our own, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you're in business for yourself, you might be feeding your dream a little more, which is why I feel like entrepreneurs feel a lot more free than most people,
Yeah.
Yes, we got
because
that
you're
freedom.
feeding your own dream and not other people's dreams. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if I went off,
No, you did. Absolutely went
You did
on.
the thing.
You was a
but
sniper with that one.
yeah, but
Listen.
that's more so what I would say is that looking at your calendar, and I feel like everybody's going to go run into their calendars now. But
Good. Good.
like I'm about to run to mine after this live because I'm like, let me see what my calendar says about me.
Yes.
And why am I not intentional about filling it with some of the things that I truly enjoy so I can live this fulfilling, balanced life, you know?
I
And
love
so
that.
that's what it's
Yes. Come on, Miss Kelly said, schedule yourself in your calendar as I pause and eat lunch. Okay.
Okay, Kelly.
Now listen, no, I love that you raised this, Kelly, because I see so many of my clients, my high impact women, doing work while they're eating, if they even eat.
Right.
They're pushing and pushing and pushing and either skipping meals, undernourishing their bodies, as Dr. J has mentioned so many times before, right? You're not fueling your body to be able to exert that level of energy, but you're still pushing, right? So taking that time to even eat is critical in the workplace. If you are in the workplace, if you are, even if you're a stay-at-home mom, you still are in the workplace, okay? You in the trenches, okay? So you need to schedule that thing out. What in our family, if it ain't on the calendar, it ain't happening.
It ain't happening, period.
That's
you know
just
what?
who we are.
I want to feed off Kelly. So Kelly Montgomery is my hairstylist.
Oh,
Okay.
She does a
Hi,
great
Kelly.
job.
So
Amazing.
Kelly said, schedule yourself in your calendar. So I want to show you how our relationship, she's a friend of mine. So how we kind of balance each other out. So this is like me showing up for myself, but also showing up for her at the same time. Okay. So before I go get my hair done, sometimes I haven't eaten. And so I'm like, let me stop and grab something to eat as I'm on my way to my appointment. And I'll call Kelly and I'll say, Kelly, do you want something to eat? And Kelly says, yes, I want something to eat. So she gives me what she wants. I buy it. I come to the, come to the salon, and I'm sitting there and I'm trying to hair up and rush. She's like, sis, take your time, because I'm about to sit here and eat mine and you eat yours, and we'll sit and have a nice conversation, and then we get back on track.
Come on. Yes.
That's a way to
that.
show yourself with other people in mind. So you're still feeding yourself, but at the same time, you're feeding someone else. She said, not me. That was
that
cat. That's funny. Yes, and we paused.
That's it, not me eating.
Yeah, not me
coming
eating.
down my street in my business I'm stealing that. You coming down my street and in my business.
Yes, that is hilarious.
I love that.
That's hilarious.
Yes,
and
we pause to eat lunch and we eat it together. But at the same time, I'm being fulfilled because my body needs nourishment. But we're also nourishing each other mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, because she also used to be my Bible study teacher. Right. And so there's a lot of self-feeding in that one moment, and just see how one incident or one phone call, turned into a fulfillment in many ways where we fed ourselves.
I love that.
And so just thinking about that, like it could be a hair appointment, which to me is relief, okay, when I go get my hair done. But it's so much more can be engulfed in that one meeting, because I walk away feeling filled up. I feel cute, okay, because my hair is on point, but I also feel full internally when I walk away. That makes sense?
Yes.
All from one calendar appointment.
Come on, listen. Listen, we can end the live now, because she just got right. She gave y'all an example, a case study. She gave y'all the data, right? Gave y'all a real example, and that was a beautiful example of how that thing works. Really, and it doesn't have to be complicated, right? It doesn't have to be complicated, and that's what I want y'all to be taking away from this, right? Like, use your calendar as that system that helps sustain everything else, right? Because that is the foundation that will allow you to flourish and thrive, right? I love this. I love this so much. Okay. So, okay. So y'all done hinted around this a couple of times, right? When we talked about a calendar also being a boundary document.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's talk about what does it tell you when someone has very little protected time? And I'm gonna throw this back to you, Dr. J. What happens to a woman's nervous system when she truly has no downtime?
Yeah. So when she truly has no downtime, it is difficult to, number one, filter decisions, because it is hard to know what to do next. Um, when she has no downtime, it could feel chaotic because everything probably feels like a priority, right? You feel like you have to do everything all at once, and that is just not realistic. Um, Everybody also becomes a priority, right? Like, back to
Mhm.
what Jeannie said, like we display that people pleasing behavior or that etiquette, because we feel the need to please everyone. And so there is a lot of pressure, like self-induced pressure, that we put on ourselves, to meet the needs of maybe a certain event or other people. And with that, we don't meet the needs of ourselves. We don't check in with ourselves to find out, okay, what do I truly need in this moment? And so, again, it always comes back to self, is understanding, okay, what do I need in this moment? How do I need to also adjust? How do I need to show up differently so that I can meet the needs of myself, right? And so it's also learning to troubleshoot during those instances, and giving ourselves the space and time to, and not even the space and time, but the permission, right? Like it's okay to say no to a person or to an event, like when it truly doesn't align, right? So it's giving ourselves permission to say no if truly something doesn't align with us in a specific season.
Yes. Come on. Come on. Give yourself that permission. And if you need us to, we giving y'all permission today too. Okay.
Permission
So
granted.
you got permission, all right. And I often coach my clients on this because I often have to explain to them every yes has to be protected by a whole lot of no's.
Yes.
Okay. And that is just part of the game, right? Because as you elevate in life and responsibility, you have things that you are responsible to steward well.
Yeah.
And you can't do that if you are constantly sacrificing yourself and your time to do all of these other things and address all of these other needs, right? That don't move you towards the goal. And so it is not selfish, right? It is actually self-full to understand your call, your mandate, your purpose, however you describe that thing, right? Whatever it is that you're working on and you're called to do in that season, it's super important that you understand the yes and make the yes be a yes and your no be a no.
No.
All right. Okay, let's see. Somebody else said, oh, okay. As a cosmetologist, I see hair loss when one is stressed out and overwhelmed. Come on. We talking more about those physiological impacts. That hair loss is a real thing. I have quite a few clients that have alopecia.
Yep.
And these things are symptoms. Your body is trying to communicate that it is in distress.
They are indicators. Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, I love that. Okay. Let's toss it back to Talana. When we think about this, right? What does lack of time boundaries look like in a household or a partnership? How and maybe even in like a friendship. It may not even need to be like a romantic relationship, but like how does that show up? How are you seeing that in your work?
So the lack of boundaries where she's not really like protecting her time. What it tells me about the woman is that she's been conditioned to believe that her needs come last. right? And I don't say it with judgment. I say it with full, deep understanding because that was me. I'm her, right? And
Yeah.
a lot of us were
We've
taught that,
all been there.
yes, a lot of us were taught that being a good woman and a good partner and a good mother always means being available, right? And then because that's our belief system, whenever we go against it, there's guilt that comes forth. And then we operate or we respond to the guilt, which then push us into this cycle of always being on for everybody and keeps us from saying no, right? And so what I've seen in both work and in my own life is that when a woman has no boundaries around her time, she slowly starts to disappear in her own home. So there's a thing of, you know, being there for everybody. And the crazy thing is everybody runs around her happy and go lucky because they're filled. And then she's angry because she's looking at everybody running around happy because of all the things she's poured into them. And then she's resentful because she has nothing, or she feels as though she has nothing.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so sometimes we have to, like what we talked about in our previous conversations, is give people back what's rightfully theirs. Like some of those things you do for others, they can literally do for themselves. Or they can find somebody else to do it. Get somebody else to do it.
Come on.
So she's literally everywhere for everyone else, but nowhere for herself.
Come on. Now, okay. Now you raised some good stuff in that. Okay, go ahead. I see you got one more thing.
What that does, though, in relationship is we're not showing up as our true, authentic selves, right? And our partners, they recognize that. They can see it.
Maybe.
A lot of times we point blame on them when it's really work that we have to do within ourselves.
Yeah, I can see that.
But because we're agitated, and you know, when you have agitation, there's an urgency that arrives.
Yeah.
So now it's like you're looking at everybody else like, help me, do this, do that, do this. And they're looking like, whoa, wait a minute. It's not that they're not showing up for you. It's more so that you're not showing up for yourself.
There
it is. Like, you have to analyze, like, if I have that balance, if I show up for myself, I guarantee, I know from personal experience, if you show up for yourself, that feeling of others showing up for you kind of dissipates, you know, and sometimes it doesn't go fully away because some people do need to show up, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But for the most part, when we're at that point where we're just overwhelmed with it, though, it's something that we need to work on within our own system that's not in alignment with who we are, who we truly are, not the roles people. Not the CEO, not the director, not the owner, not the roles. I'm talking about deep down inside who you are as a woman. What are your desires? What is your passion? What is your purpose?
That's good.
Are you aligned with your purpose? Do you know what your purpose is? Like, just question. I'm just going to question.
Yeah. No, listen. Take the questions, y'all. Write them down, okay?
So just balance all of that, and just, you know, it's like a self-check.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's beautiful. Okay, so ladies, Tana was speaking to, right? What does the lack of time boundaries look like in a household or relationship? And again, she brought it again, almost like Dr. J, right? We're talking about it from different perspectives, but we're still coming back to it's an internal system issue, right? And how do we look at the calendar? And I will tell you guys, one of the ways in which I see it show up a lot with my clients, and I'm gonna just put a disclaimer here before I say it because it may hurt some feelings. One of the ways that I see this lack of time boundaries is singleness. Now, I have a lot of women that not even all of them are my clients, right? I have women that I'm in contact with just through business and, you know, networking and all these things, right? That desire partnership. They desire to be wives and mothers and really big important things. And they have put their careers and their work at the forefront, right? And I had a young lady that I was mentoring maybe last year or so. And her, desire was to have a family and to meet a guy and fall in love. And we were talking about it. And I just simply asked her, where would he fit? And she kind of she's kind of like, whoa, what? And I said, well, you got this thing, that thing, you over here, you over there, you're flying here, you taking on such and such as this and such as that. And I said, that communicates to a healthy man that you don't need him and you don't have space for him. So the signal that you're sending out is, I got this. My life is full and it's fulfilled. When really that's not true. That's not accurate, right? And so in that regard, I think it's super important that you take that introspective look at what is happening, right? Like, even before I met my husband, right? Like when we first started dating, I had a hard time because I was at happy hours. I was still doing all the things I was doing when I was single, right? I was doing all the things, okay?
Your best life.
No shortage, yes. And I remember one day he was like, when are we going to hang out, I was like,
oh yeah.
And he said it in a very loving way, right? But it checked me immediately because I was like, oh, whoa. If I say I want this thing, right, I'm going to have to make some adjustments, right? And I know some women flinch at that, right? They don't want to be controlled. They see it as, an encroachment on their freedom and all these things. And that may be how you feel. But what I want to tell you is the truth. And the truth is that if that's what you want and that's what you desire, then your calendar and your time have to reflect that is the highest priority. Because when you do take that step, when I got married, my family is my first ministry. That they are the calendar, right? And everything else has to fit into that.
That's right.
And that's something that we don't always talk about when we are highly accomplished women, boss women, right? However you want to describe yourself, we don't always talk about those kind of interpersonal things and how oftentimes that can cause conflict in a marriage, in a relationship, because you are overcommitting, but not in the right places or in the places that matter most in this current season. And so that can sometimes, as Talana mentioned, those indications of how you're showing up and how it's impacting those that you're connected to will give you that feedback. You'll get that data back pretty clearly. And then it's your job to take that data, make meaning of it, and then decide how you want to move forward, right? So it's not an easy thing, but I want to just put that out there because it can sometimes really be the difference between you finding the partnership and love that you desire and growing old or being a rich auntie because you feel like there's no love out there, right? I've heard women say that, right? There's no shortage of men. I'm married and my husband and I know plenty of them. And they're looking for wives, right? Like there's no shortage, right? So I think it's important that we remember that and that we adjust accordingly so we match the vibration of what we say we want. So as we think about this more, right, Jay, I want to turn this over to you, right?
Okay.
Because the question is, to wrap this up, right, is as high achieving women, right, why do we still struggle to hold time boundaries even when we know better?
Even when we know better. Jenna, I'm going to make this one
tough.
I'm going to make this one a little bit difficult because, why do we do anything even though we know better? Right? right?
Right.
I mean, I want to be, a little.
Facts.
We do things even though we know better because we live in a society that rewards us over functioning. We live in families that reward us over functioning. We work and function in businesses that reward us over functioning. We get
Yeah.
reinforcement of our behaviors. That's why I'm going to keep doing something because as I've done it in a pattern space, I've had these great successes in it. And, even though I start to hit a wall, when I've created, this neural pathway and that neural pathway, and this is the one I consistently use and it brings me success, I'm going to keep using this one, even though this one has divergence, even though this one could lead to something else, something better, oftentimes, right? I'm still like, I'm so used to the pattern. I'm so used to the reinforcement of said pattern. And those things are difficult to break, right? Another
Yeah.
thing is, just as a whole, there is a way that society expects for us women to function. And it's very clear. And we make these global conclusions about ourselves. I mean, Tona was talking you just spoke so beautifully and so eloquently about this. You always do. I can't deny that. It's like amazing. You just have a way to like cut right through. But you're like, there's a guilt that comes when I know that I'm supposed to be showing up in a certain way and then I get feedback that it's not right, because I'm irritable or whatever else. And so then I go into this hyper functioning mode to make up for that. But there's also shame that's perpetuated in that, right? Because the system says this is how I should be. Consistently nourishing, always thinking about the collective, always super duper adept at like making sure everyone around me is cared for, nourished, organized in these very specific kinds of ways. And then when I don't do that or I get the feedback that that's not existing for me, I'm like in shutdown mode because I've internalized those ways of being. Like systems exist and then we internalize their expectations and they become our own. So they become our own values. And that's what we keep playing out. And those things, they're difficult to break. So there's like the easy answer, right? And then there's like all of the other stuff, all
Yeah.
of the other things, including the investment that we make in showing up a specific kind of way. Like if I've run my body into the ground, having my kids, I'm inside of chronic pain. I'm inside of consistent fatigue. I'm inside of, high cortisol levels and high weight gain. And I did all this inside of a specific kind of relationship and a specific kind of pattern. And everyone is sort of stuck beside me and all of that. Like, and the things that I know and are used to are still supporting me. Am I going to walk away from them and shift all of that inside of the threat that those things could then, like, if I change, those things could also change and then walk away from me? I don't know. I mean, it's very difficult, right? Like,
Yeah.
so it's a complicated question in some ways, but I hope that helps. Yeah.
No, that does help. And I think what I appreciated most about how you broke that down is that there's a part where it's like, it's just the pattern, right? It's like what we're used to. And it's a scenario where we've been rewarded in one way or another, right? That positive reinforcement. So again, you guys, as you think about this, right, we're talking about biology, the basic functioning of our bodies and our brains. And what's super important for you to understand is that our brains are wired for survival and not success. Okay. So if there is a path that has already been mapped out that appeared to be working, it's going to go the path of least resistance. It's going to really be a struggle, to recreate a new pathway. However, what we talked about last week, right, is that is the beauty of how God made us, in that we have the ability to rewire our brains. We have the ability to create new pathways. The neurons that fire together, wire together, right? And that's not just true in babies. That can be true in adulthood. But it does take intention and attention to be able to do that, right? And it also takes support. So that is why we constantly are inviting you all to be in community, to get in community. That's why we want you to show up in person at the Wealthy and Worthy event here in Atlanta in August, because we want to help you all understand where you are and map a strategy to get to where you want to be without shame, without guilt. Like, we are leaving all that crap behind, right? But we're going to help you get the strategy and then provide you the support, right? As you continue to practice this new way, this new path, right? So we're going to wrap it up today, ladies. In giving the groups or giving the community one thing that they can take away and remember as they go into their week. Okay, so in one sentence, one word, what should a high achieving woman remember when she looks at her calendar this week? Let's start with you, Dr. J.
Yes. So one thing that a high achieving woman should remember when she looks at her calendar is that she needs to put both her mind and her body on the calendar. And so that is making sure that you take time for whatever practice that works for you to be able to nurture your mind, whether it's meditation, prayer, or just sitting in silence, that you take time to connect with your body through movement, any movement. It doesn't have to be a hardcore CrossFit routine. It could be as simple by just walking up and down the steps, if that is the capacity that you have for right now. It could be just walking outside, but just making sure that you develop that connection with your body, because your body, your mind will continue to give you signals as long as you continue to connect to it. So the more that you move, the more that you think, you're going to get that greater connection, and you're going to get those signals from your mind and your body to continue those habits.
Love that. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, y'all. So Dr. J gave y'all that tidbit, all right? Make sure your mind and your body is on the calendar, okay? Let's pass it back to you, Jay. What you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think, when you're looking at your calendar, I just want you to be of the mindset as to whether it supports where you want to be emotional health-wise, mental health-wise. If you're looking at your calendar and you immediately feel overwhelmed, or you're experiencing hopes already that someone's going to cancel, you're inside burnout. You have the hallmarks. When I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so glad that client canceled. And, oh, thank heavens, thank God.
Yes.
So happy.
Yeah.
Don't threaten me with a good time to stay home in my pajamas. I look at my calendar every week. I'm super excited, especially for Wealthy Worthy Wednesday. I'm super excited. I'm like, yes, it's gonna be a good week. Let's go. It's up.
Yeah.
If you don't feel that way about your calendar, then you are looking at your calendar and you are not reflecting upon what are my greatest emotional and mental health needs. I want you to do that. I need you to do that.
Love that.
Sis.
All right, Tawana. Come on, sis. Now, Jeannie, come on. Jeannie told y'all, okay? She said, listen, if it don't light you up, let it go, okay? If it don't light you up, let it go. All right. Tawana, what you got?
So one sentence, huh? So your calendar should not just reflect what you do, but it should be used as a tool to protect who you are and who you are becoming.
Yes.
Oh, come on, pass the offering.
Yes.
That's the whole sermon, y'all. She just
Right.
That's good stuff. Okay.
Wrap it.
So not just what you do, but who you are and who you desire to become.
Yes.
Oh, that's juicy. That's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, listen, you was all day today.
If you look at your calendar like that now, in the mindset of, let me see how I can use this as a tool to protect myself.
Yeah, I love that.
So
Yeah, I love that. Okay, that's beautiful. Again, tool, right? We're giving y'all some tools and some strategies. All right. I'm gonna leave y'all with the strategy of make sure you assess and adjust the calendar on Friday.
Yes.
And I gotta give my husband credit for this, okay? Because listen, the other Dr. Rogers gave me this when we were dating, so like a decade ago, okay? And it has been faithful like the Lord, okay? Since for 10 years, okay? Every Friday, I look at my calendar for the following week, for the next week, and I figure out, does it reflect, like Tawana said, who I want to be, and like Jeannie said, how I want to feel, and Dr. J said, am I scheduling time to connect with my body in there, right? So I'm scheduling working out. I'm scheduling whatever I need to do with my kid, my kiddo. I'm scheduling family time, right? I'm making sure first things are first, and then work fills the rest in. And if work feels like it's too much that next week, I have no problem sending somebody a request, a decline, and saying, kindly find an alternative time in the coming weeks. I have no problem doing that. Because I have learned that it's a non-negotiable, right? It's a non-negotiable. And y'all know, with me and my health history, it's a non-negotiable. If I feel like it, if I have a inkling that it's gonna stress me out, we ain't doing it. Nope, we ain't doing it. I'm in my ease era, okay? I'm in my ease era, and that's just what it's gotta be. All right. And never once have I done it and anybody ever complained. No one's ever complained. They're like, great, Dr. Rogers, I'll find another time. Great. Thanks for the calendar. Right. So you have that permission. You are doing a job that only you can do. And so we want to empower you, embolden you, give you that permission to do it, and do it unapologetically, because it's going to change your life. So listen, that's all we got for y'all this week. Oh, come on.
Listen, that was a whole workshop right there.
Now you got me thinking maybe we should do a workshop before we have the live event. Okay, hold on. Before we go, we got some content. We got some. Okay, come on. Perry said my calendar is
about to shift. Shift, honey, shift. Yeah.
Shifts in here, okay? Oh, I love this so much. Okay, well, thank y'all so much for tuning in. If y'all are watching this back on the replay, let us know that you've tuned in. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We would love to connect to y'all and answer any questions that you may have. And as always, if y'all have topics that y'all want us to address in a specific Wealthy and Worthy Wednesday, we're happy to incorporate those. We did that a few weeks ago, which was super fun, actually. So we love hearing from y'all, and we want to hear more from y'all and engage more with y'all. So tell a friend, bring a friend, and we'll see y'all next Wednesday, same place, same time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.